Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we have another book and it's called Candy Cane Lane and it is written by Scott Sorrento. Every year at Christmas, people would come from miles around to see the famous decorations of Candy Cane Lane. There were 28 snowmen, 15 wise men, 38 Santas, 72 reindeer, and an army of tin soldiers, and many, many others. But there was also a plain house at the end of the lane. The little girl who lived inside knew her father could not afford fancy lawn ornaments. Sometimes when the lights were most magical, she wished that they could have just one figure for their little lawn. A few nights before Christmas, a blizzard hit Candy Cane Lane. The next morning, ornaments were scattered across lawns and rooftops. The little girl gasped. A little plastic choir boy, dented and scuffed from his fall, had been stuffed into a trash bin. How wonderful he would look on our lawn, she thought. She rescued him and hurried back to her house. But later that day, her father assumed the choir boy had been blown from the trash by the wind. So he stuffed him back into the bin. A garbage truck snatched him up, and as it roared and bounced away, the choir boy watched Candy Cane Lane fade from sight. After many hours, the garbage truck stopped and tipped its load, and the choir boy rolled down a large pile of garbage. Here there were no twinkly lights, no Christmas carols, no Candy Cane Lane. Wonderful storm, wasn't it? A broken reindeer leapt onto the nearby pile of garbage. Wind blew me straight off the roof. Sure, I lost an antler, but I finally know what it feels like to fly. Where are we? Asked the choir boy. For things like us, it's the end of the line, said a hollow voice nearby. A ghost. The choir boy sang out. Not a real ghost, the ghost said with a laugh, but thank you very much. The choir boy told them about the girl who'd tried to save him. We need to find our way back to Candy Cane Lane, he said. So together they set off on foot towards the bright lights in the distance. But those lights turned out to be a busy shopping center surrounded by busier roads. The world is a much bigger place than I supposed, said the choir boy. The three new friends walked a very long way. They walked past superhighways, they walked through woods and fields, they walked past giant factories. Oh, it's no use, said the choir boy. This doesn't look anything like beautiful Candy Cane Lane. What on earth is that? Exclaimed the reindeer. It was a giant standing on the roof of a factory. The giant chuckled in a deep, booming voice. Welcome. You look as though you have entertained many, many people over the years. Standing in the doorway was the most beautiful sugar plum fairy the choir boy had ever seen. Have you journeyed far? She asked. You must tell me about the outside world. You see, I've never left the factory. They keep me here on permanent display. They followed her to the assembly line where 200 Santas waited to be painted. Spooky, they're all identical, gasped the ghost. Actually, not all of them, said the sugar plum fairy. She led them to the next room. There they found dozens of ornaments who looked very different. There was a Santa with a green coat, a camel with 3 humps, wise men without gifts, and a snowman who looked melted. They were all rejected, the sugar plum fairy said in a low voice. You must all come home with me to Candy Cane Lane, said the choir boy. There's a little girl who would love to have us all. Hooray, shouted the others. There's just one problem. I'm afraid I don't know the way. Perhaps I can help, suggested the giant. I can carry all of you in my giant arms. Along the way, they passed several busy highways, but Candy Cane Lane was nowhere in sight. There's an elf, cried the choir boy. Perhaps he knows where Candy Cane Lane is. But no, he did not. Neither did Burger Kid or Little Cupcake. I'm afraid we're never going to find Candy Cane Lane, said the ghost. If I were a real flying reindeer, I could fly high enough to spot Candy Cane Lane, said the reindeer. Maybe you can be a real flying reindeer, exclaimed the choir boy. Mr. Giant, you must throw us as high as you possibly can. An updraft took them higher and higher until they could see the whole city. There it is, shouted the choir boy. There is Candy Cane Lane. The reindeer landed on the little girl's rooftop, as lightly as any flying reindeer ever did. The giant helped deliver the rest of the ornaments safely, and in the pink light of dawn, he hurried back to the factory before he was missed. The little girl woke up because she thought she heard singing. "You did this while I was sleeping, didn't you, Dad? And you even brought back the choir boy. This is the most wonderful Christmas I could have ever imagined," exclaimed the little girl. And all the ornaments agreed. Well, that is a lovely story, my friends. I'm so glad that the little choir boy figured out where Candy Cane Lane was. All right, my friends, I will see you here next time, and enjoy your day. Bye now.